Item Number SCP-U-471 Level 1 Unrestricted Containment Class Safe Disruption Class Dark Risk Class Notice Special Containment Procedures None. Researcher's Note from Dr. Bradford. Hector has shown himself to be loyal to the Foundation. He's still one of us and may move as freely as any other employee. Description: SCP-U-471 is a 29-year-old man. Caucasian, 183 centimeters tall, fit build. SCP-U-471, hereby referred to by his name Hector, is an employee of the Foundation and has been working with us for 7 years. His anomalous properties were discovered 5 years into his employment, and it was found that he was unaware of his abilities. When Hector is killed, a small black flame will form, hovering 40 centimeters over his torso. In the flame will be a clear and readable white number. The flame will dissipate after 15 minutes with no further effects. Touching this fire does not cause harm. 30 minutes after Hector's death, he will reappear inside of his current place of residence outside of anyone's view. As of the 22nd of September, 2024, Hector has died twice. The first incident's flame displaying a 9, and the second incident's flame displaying an 8. There is no way to test this, but it is presumed Hector will truly die once this number reaches 0. Addendum: the following are both of Hector's deaths and the circumstances that led up to them. These details were requested by the Ethics Committee. Incident 1. Date: 2022. On 2022, a Chaos Insurgency raid on Site-114 led to the containment breach of 4 SCP-3199 instances. Over half of the on-site security was killed during the initial breach of Chaos Insurgency operatives and subsequent 3199 breach. 2 Zeta-9 teams, Mole Rats, were close by when this breach occurred, performing a training exercise. The teams were contacted to assist in the site's defense and recontaining of the 4 loose 3199 instances. Hector was on one of these teams. After 2 hours of skirmishing throughout the site, the Chaos Insurgency and nearly all 3199 instances had been eliminated. Hector's first death was caught on CCTV. Details are transcribed below. Transcript: 2022, 9:37 to 9:40 p.m. Cameras looking down at a hallway. 4-path intersection. 3 members of site staff and 4 mole rats are in the frame, talking. I think that's the last of the Chaos neckbeards.
What about the 3199s? Are they all accounted for?
Hector and I got 2. Dan reported downing one in the south wing. Junior Researcher Lin has her back to the door. It opens automatically and a 3199 instance lunges towards her from the doorway. Hector pushes Junior Researcher Lin out of the path of the assailant and is bitten on his neck. The 3199 instance proceeds to melting through Hector's neck over the course of 8 seconds, while the rest of the mole rats open fire on the 3199 instance, killing it. Junior Researcher Lin pushes herself into a corner and can be heard repeating, "I'm sorry." Her coworkers kneel beside her, trying to comfort her. At 9:39 p.m., the black flame with the white number appears over Hector's body, displaying a 9. End of relevant transcript information. 40 minutes after Hector's death, as cleanup and body collection is underway, Sergeant Raykar reported getting a phone call from someone sounding like Agent Hector. After an hour of confirmation questioning, it was confirmed that Hector had returned and was in his apartment. After another week of questioning, medical and psychological examination, and given his SCP designation, it was determined Hector was uncompromised and fit for continued work at the Foundation. Incident 2. Date: September 22nd, 2024. Planned raid on SCP-610 Village, as seen in Exploration Log SCP-610-L5, turned into a defense of the containment perimeter. The raid was halted when the perimeter base came under attack by a horde of SCP-610 infected. Multiple MTFs were on site to assist in the raid, now turned defense. The enemy attack was successfully repelled. Interviews were conducted with personnel who witnessed or heard Hector's death, since cameras that would have seen it were destroyed in the attack. Interview 1. Date: September 23rd, 2024. Interviewer: Dr. Bradford. Interviewed: Captain Darroch, team leader of Mole Rats. Okay, we're rolling. Captain Darroch, what can you recall of Hector's death? Not the usual behavior of the infected, but not unexpected either. Like they were trying to make an example out of him. From the beginning, please, Captain. Right. There are two main bases to the north and south end of 610's containment perimeter. The raid was supposed to launch from the south base where we were positioned. I guess the infected had the same idea. Honestly, this was a blessing. Them attacking when we happened to have Hammer Down and various other MTFs scheduled to be on site. We held them off, but it cost us. And then there's Hector. Hammer Down was still 10 kilometers out when the infected hit. There was my mole rats, some Maz Hatters, angle grinders, and site security. We took to the ramparts and held off the coming horde as best we could, but we didn't have the firepower of Hammer Down. When they started climbing the base walls, we retreated inside. Hammer Down would be arriving soon, and we decided to just hold up in some bunkers. Hammer Down arrived and were pushing back the infected, but there were still the infected inside bashing down our doors. We'd used most of our flame weapons already, so it's looking bad. We can hear Nu 7 outside battling the infected, but they weren't going to make it to us fast enough. Then I hear something. Over the sound of clawing and pounding infected, I hear a door get kicked down. I think it's one of the other bunker doors buckling, when I hear Hector shouting, "You call this a raid? You clowns are jokes, come on!" He starts shooting and shouting, and the infected lay off our door. Presumably to chase after Hector. He was buying us time. I hear his footsteps running down the hall, still shouting and shooting for a few minutes until they catch him. For 3 minutes, Hector is screaming. Not the mocking shouts to draw the infected, no, they're hurting him. He bought us the time we needed for Nu 7 to get inside and save us. During cleanup, we were only able to identify what was left of him by the black flame hovering over the viscera. A black flame with an 8 inside of it. And that's the story. He called in, we did some questioning, and sure enough, it's Hector. He's back. I see. Thank you, Captain. Of course. Researcher's note. Now there's an 8 over the corpse. Maybe this is a counter? Perhaps when this number hits 0, he actually dies. Of course, we're in no hurry to test this. End recording. Interviews 2 and 3 have been omitted for brevity as they both corroborate the same story told by Captain Darroch. The interviews can be viewed here if desired. Memo from Ethics Committee. From Director Orchard. Subject: Nihilism is cringe. Good afternoon. My name is Director Orchard. Pardon the colloquialism in the subject of the memo, it grabs eyes. I wanted to address the "We're the Bad Shadow" organization sentiment that's been growing lately. Hector and many other agents just like him set the example for what the SCP Foundation is. We are here to help. We're not wannabe nihilists. Director Orchard.